Hey everyone, welcome to Around the ACL. Michelle Thompson here with Trey Ryder and Wally K9 Castler. And we got a pretty cool show here. We had Trey wasn't with us last week because he was traveling back from Europe. So he's going to give us the whole recap. We held it for this week because, Laura, Anthony, and Jake and I are going to talk about Europe. We weren't there. We have to get your perspective and find out why you now want to live there. So I gotta get the information. We're gonna get into news around the league, and then we're gonna talk about some of the changes, player memberships, fun stuff like that coming up this season, and then ATA game time. That's when we go over four bagger, floor bagger, send it or board it, and would you rather, which we took from Wally and I show bagging and bragging. So Trey, how was the adjustment back to U.S. time?
The adjustment back, I think you and I fundamentally disagree on this, Michelle.
Okay.
Because anytime I come west, it is so much easier for me to come west. I think it's the easiest thing ever to come west because I had like a 9 a.m. flight. I land at 1 p.m. and I just stay up and go to bed at normal time. And it's like all is well in the world. Whereas when I go out there, you're taking a red eye. Like I left at 6 p.m. I land at 8 a.m. and we landed in Frankfurt. And then like that whole day, you're like, okay, I'm going to stay awake. I'm going to stay awake because I got 2 hours of sleep on the plane. And then you just try to fight through it. Then you take a nap and now your schedule's messed up. And then it just.
Well, if you're adding a red eye into the mix, that completely changes everything. Because no, if I had to start off on a red eye, I would be completely screwed no matter what direction I went in.
That's okay. That's true. Because the only way you can get over there is a red eye. Like you can't leave like in the middle of the day and then it screws it all up. But no, I am recovered. I am good. I had my first weekend home in forever. It was fantastic, but it was I'm back.
Now, do you go first class over there?
No. I maybe one day.
I remember going to Australia and like I got lucky because there was nobody in my row. So, I got really lucky on the way out there. The way back, not so much. But, me and Stacy were getting on the plane. He's going to first class. I'm going to the back. And I'm like, that's the only way to fly overseas like that, man. That is luxury.
That's the only way I will fly, which is why I haven't.
Yeah, when the long trip I went, like on the way out there, I had nobody next to me, which was great. So I could kind of like sprawl out a little bit as I was trying to sleep. But on the way back, like there was someone right next to me, coach. Like I had the window, so I'm kind of leaning against the window. But it was
Trey, how do you not have enough points to upgrade your seat? You have to have so many points. You're crazy.
It's expensive. It's like
13. I have hundreds of thousands of points at this point. Like you can't just. That's crazy. You got to use your points better.
It's like $1,300 just to upgrade. That doesn't even include the base of the ticket.
Yeah.
I still would have paid it though.
Same. 100%.
But I'm with you though, Trey. Like going west is so much easier unless you're staying with Michelle or you're staying with Corey, which is the only 2 times I've gone out there because they're psychopaths and they wake up with the sun at like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, well, I have a child. Corey is another story.
Now, to their credit, though, they both cooked me amazing breakfast when I was there. So they're great hosts at least. But yeah, it's like
we make up for it with our food.
I feel guilty trying to sleep until like 10 or 11 o'clock.
Oh, man.
I will say one of the fun parts of being in Europe was literally getting on the live feed at 10 a.m. and then getting viewers from the West Coast that were 9 hours behind us. So it was 1 a.m. and they hadn't gone to bed yet, and we were kicking off our day that next day.
Yeah, a little different. Yeah, that's definitely different. Well, let's get into it. Open doubles. First place went to Adam Hisner and Trey Birchfield. Second place, Logan Chamberlain and Ethan Walker. Third, Hunter Thorne and Sean Farrell. And fourth, Connor Weiss and Paul Vandendam. Singles, first place, Ethan Walker. Second place, Logan Chamberlain. Third went to Miranda Coy and Adam Hisner. Fifth, Loris Meritich. And fifth, Mathieu Riveau. So those are the doubles and singles. We'll get into some of the other events, but Trey, let's start there.
All right. Well, I got my Croatian hat now. I went all the way back home to get this hat on. Now it's It's not the prettiest hat in the world, but I got my Croatian colors on because Team Croatia is not only like the crew there is incredible, right? As far as like the people traveling to the event, but also it is the site of the 2025 ACL Europe Open, which is going to be incredible. And fun fact, it's on my birthday next year. So that is also electric. I look terrible with this hat on, so I'm going to take it off, but I had to give my love to Croatia as I put it on. I put on the hat, okay? But, yeah, I thought, first of all, shout out to the Croatians. And, you know, they were kind of like I thought they brought a lot of the energy all week long. Kata and Maria Belac, the two sisters, were so much fun to watch and see how they progress from year over year. Overall, big picture, though, I will say this much. If you didn't watch any of the Europe Open at all, Europe is a lot closer than you think. And they made a huge jump from year over year. Last year, we were talking about them just being able to maybe throw in the same building or be able to play in the same tournament. A completely different vibe, a completely different atmosphere this year. It was still a lot of camaraderie. It was still a lot of, learning the different cultures. It was fun and to interact with everybody. But there was a huge difference in the talent level between last year and this year. Okay. It took the best players in the world playing their absolute best. I watched a game between Bruno Bocquier, who didn't even finish near in the top five most of anything, and Logan Chamberlain, one-on-one playing singles against one another, in which Logan Chamberlain was playing extremely well, and the score was 17-15, right? Logan Chamberlain ended up winning that game, but Bruno Bocquier was throwing backside, disgusting, no hesitation airmails, like equivalent to what we see from Matt Guy, to the point where everybody is just like, they could not believe what they were watching. Trey Birchfield lost in singles to Jerome Paul Obi, a Frenchman. Okay. Miranda Coy lost to Loris Maritic out of Croatia, that we're going to see coming to the United States. I'm going to get to in a minute next year. Hunter Thorne lost to a European. We had a European in the Sweet 16 event, which I'll talk about in a minute, throw a 10.16 PPR across the entire tournament in Roman Elsner. We're talking about a group of players that know. Do I think some of these Europeans would come over right now and win a pro signature or a pro open event? I do not think they would win. But do I think they would be run out of the building? No. I think there is a good chunk of 5 to 10 players that if you put in this pro field right now would finish somewhere in the middle of the pack. Now, my projection is by the time we get to next year, we're going to see the next evolution of skill, which is that hybrid game, the ability to block and roll. I only saw one European that was able to set blocks, hit cuts, and hit rolls. And that was Dejan Mogorovic out of Croatia, who will be coming to the United States, who will be coming to the World Championships in 2025. And so we'll get a chance to see how he progresses throughout the year. So big picture wise, Europe is on its way. Now, my long list of people that were awesome to watch and really cool to see. One, the Germans were the home country. It was really cool to experience Germany. It was my first time there. What they say about the beer is 100% factual. You guys, these two on the call, Mish and Wally, you guys know I am not a beer drinker. I think I had more than 20 beers in Germany. And I think it's the water. I will stick my foot in the ground that I had one day, I had 11 beers. I woke up the next day, I was not hungover at all. I don't think I should say that too much being where I am in this company.
I'm moving there tomorrow. What?
I had zero hangover, zero. It was the most amazing.
They should be advertising that. People will be coming in droves.
I watched Adam Hissner drink. I don't think I should say this on this podcast, but let's say more than whatever number I said, guess how many Adam Hissner drank in one day at the venue. Whatever that is, it might be close to double whatever he drank inside that venue. the Bitburgers that we had, and the beer is like regional. So there it was like Bitburger beer, but I mean, it was like, and it's cheaper than water. Like I literally was joking with Fred. I submitted my expense report and I said, Fred, I sat next to Jack at dinner. He ordered a still water, which was €3, and I ordered a Bitburger. It was €2.70 I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I guess I'm drinking beer the entire weekend.
They got their priorities over there. I love it.
Like incredible. Like the architecture was amazing. The food was really, really good. Like I got all the authentic things, but like, so the Germans were the home crowd. Guni Reitz is kind of the top German player out there. One of those, he's the one that came to Westwego, and he finished the year second in kind of the European standings. Was really cool to kind of see him play again and really pay attention to him in person. I will say, though, his doubles partner is a really interesting person as well. EJ Von Dren. EJ is from Chicago. He's through the military. He is based out there, and he kind of took his cornhole skills out there. He actually finished the year as the #1 ranked player in Europe. And he's got a good bag, good technique. He jumped on the mic a little bit. He's really well-spoken when it comes to the game. But it's cool to have kind of a figurehead in that country that's kind of leading the way and trying to elevate their game. But he wasn't the highest finishing player. I'll say this much. The best player in Europe right now is Roman Elsner. Roman Elsner, he wasn't the highest finishing one. If you look at Loris Meritic, he finished 5th. Matu Rivaux finished 5th in their brackets, right? But I will say Roman Elsner, I think, finished 7th or whatever it was. It was just based on his draw. I think Miranda put him out. But Roman Elsner is the best player in Europe. He is throwing high 9s, low 10s in just about every tournament that he is playing in. He's got a low line drive bag. He's got a good airmail to pair with it. He doesn't have that cut and roll game yet, which is going to hurt him. But I'm telling you what, Roman Elsner is going to be a problem for some people if they're off when he comes to America, because that leads me to the Sweet 16 event. The Sweet 16 event was a really good, really cool opportunity they do in Europe. The winner of singles and the winner of doubles both win an all-expenses-paid trip to America to compete in an American event of their choosing. This year, both the singles and the doubles are choosing the World Championships. So not only will we have a USA versus Canada exhibition at Worlds, we're actually going to have a European team there as well that's going to compete. We're anticipating about 10 total people from Europe that are going to make the trip next year. The 3 that won the automatic bids plus a number of others. So the 3 that won the automatic bids, Loris Meritic and Dejan Magorovic, both from Croatia. I talked about them, Croatia being a big energy, and that's where the crowd is coming from, because they're going to bring Maria, they're going to bring Kata, they're going to bring Pulic, a number of other players that competed that weekend. But Dejan Magorovic is the one that has kind of the roll bag that is developing. That's really cool to see. But Roman Elsner is the singles winner. He is from Slovenia. Slovenia's got a really good team. So Roman will be coming to America, and so he's going to have an opportunity. So the European team that we think is going to travel over this coming year, I really think is going to showcase some really good skills and will challenge the Canadians and will challenge the Americans. Now, whether or not they win is a different story, but the lineup of players that they're going to be sending over is really, really cool and fun to see. I talked about a bunch of different countries. There's, the people from Sweden, Kala, and what he's building was really cool. He had a quote that I'll just say from the weekend. He was hyping up his Sweden team, and he said, "Look, the Americans, they can't get any better, but we can." And so that was like the last thing that he said to like his group of people, and it was kind of laughing and joking, but it was like, these like countries are starting to believe that they can actually compete, which is really, really cool, and some stuff there. I mean, other countries, like I could name all of them. It was so funny. I met this one woman. I walked in the building. Her name was Flo. Flo, if you hear this, you'll like this story. But I walked in the building. This is her second ever like ACL Europe event, right? She had done one in UK, and then she's like, "Hey, I'll try out here." We start talking. She has no idea who I am. Not a lick, which is, it's refreshing, honestly, right? So I'm just talking to them, and she's like, and I was like, okay, we'll have to get you on the live feed later for women's singles. And she's like, oh, okay. And she kind of like turned around and walked away, like, who is this bozo? Okay. Sure enough, first game up, I said, I want Flo. I put Flo on there. She's like, oh, wait, you're like, are you the little commentary person? And so I said, yes, I'm the little commentary person. So then we did an entire, game with her. And then as the weekend went on, she started piecing together through social media and talking to people that, like, I was there, like, representing the United States, helping run this entire thing. And so we had this joke going on throughout the entire week. But that's just goes to show, like, this game is growing so rapidly, and the Europe Open grew so rapidly that we literally had double the attendance at this event than we did last year. 3 more shout outs. One was Team USA. I don't know if we could have picked a better group of pros to go over there for a number of different reasons. You got the experience and the accolades of like Birchfield and Hissner, but you also got like some energy and some different shot selection. Like, people's mouths were agape watching Ethan Walker and what he was able to do, hitting all these different roll bags. I think that was really important. Miranda did a great job being a representation of what the women's game has evolved to, and being a really confident presence, I would say, as we all know Miranda could be, right? That's a different element that's not really seen here and or wasn't seen there across the pond. And then, even Hunter Thorne, Logan Chamberlain, Adam Hissner, like a list of all the different players that played. It was really cool, and they did a really great job representing the United States. I thought it was a great representation. Finally, shout out Todd Kosicki for what he's helped to build, but really, really big shout out to Ton de Vries, who is our ACL Europe director. He has built something super, super special, and I just love to see it continue to evolve. I've already planned out. I'm doing 2 weeks there next year. I'm going to Croatia. I want to go to Hungary and then Italy afterwards, but there's just so much to it. I could talk literally for hours. You guys know me. I've already taken up like 18 minutes, and you guys haven't said a single word yet. But I just couldn't relay enough of my excitement of what this event meant to the sport.
One thing I think that is getting overlooked, you talked about it a couple points there, is like the international crowds. They dominate the American crowds when it comes to watching cornhole. I mean, I'll never forget going to Australia and seeing an 8-on-8 wash, and the crowd was like standing ovation. Like,
yeah.
like whenever one of their players hits an airmail, like the entire crowd goes crazy. And it's like, don't get me wrong, it's like 50, 60 people, but the fact that they appreciate a good shot rather than like just a great match or a great tournament is bar none. I mean, like, sorry, United States, we're losing that battle. We need to step it up. We have the numbers. We just don't have the enthusiasm.
We're desensitized, right?
Yeah.
We're just like it's all exciting still. And I'm sure, I don't know, I wasn't in the ACL back when it started, but I bet you maybe had more of them. Well, COVID kind of put a wrench in that. But yeah, I mean, well, I volunteer. Yeah. I volunteer to go to Europe at any point should the ACL need a representative. I will
maybe
be upgrading.
India. We had an India team that was there. They literally had their phones out the entire time recording every single interaction. It was hilarious. Like and the best part was, I probably shouldn't say this either, but it is what it is. They had their Indian national championship. They won the entire thing. They come out here to Europe. They compete. First game they had to play, Ethan Walker and Logan Chamberlain.
Oh my God,
right?
Welcome to
so they throw all the bags, right? And they go, oh, that's a 5 spot. And then they no, that's an 8 spot. They're like, no, it's 2 points in the hole and 1 point on the board. And they're like, no. So they had the entire Indian national championship with the wrong scoring. Systems.
Oh my goodness.
We're growing.
Yeah, they're fine. They're definitely late to the game. It's okay. We'll take them under our wing. We're happy to have you, India. Just jump on board. You'll learn. That's cool though. All right. Well, and here in the US, we are in our off season and we are seeing all the partnerships come together. It's exciting to watch. I'm here for it. So basically what we did last week is I didn't read them all. I just left them there for you guys to talk about. So Wally, I'll let you start since Trey talked for like 20 minutes and we're all tired of hearing him. Go ahead and just talk about some of the pro partnerships coming out that you've heard about.
You want me to rattle off the list, or you?
No, you can just pick some that you want to talk about. Yeah, whoever sticks out to you.
All right, so some that are kind of sticking out to me: Dylan Turpin and Eddie Grindersleeve, obviously coming out of Texas, and I guess is it Arkansas? I'm not really sure where Dylan's from. Oklahoma, either way, down there, down south of St. Louis, they're teaming up together. And we kind of talk about in the past about Dylan Turpin needing a better partner. Who's Dylan Turpin's partner going to be? No matter how good his partner actually was, we always felt like he was that top tier caliber player that needed somebody to get there. Well, teaming up with a world champion now, Eddie Grindersleeve, I think this is going to be his best opportunity to make deep runs in it. The question is it enough? I saw Team Flux making some moves over this last weekend, as well with Gary Bearpaw and Deborah Odom teaming up for next season. So Team Flux is going to have some names out there that we're going to have to keep an eye on. I'm excited to see what they could do on the boards. A lot of people are thinking Gary Bearpaw needed a better partner, but I was kind of talking to Vanessa about it yesterday, and I'm like, I don't think the women get enough respect for how good they actually are in this game. So whenever people are looking at Deb Odom and Gary Bearpaw, and they're kind of like, oh, he could have done better. I'm like, Deb's pretty darn good, man. Like, I don't think
she's
people
also straight energy, right?
That was going to be my next point, is that if Gary Bearpaw is going to be basically another version of Creek Killer and Foreman, which they pretty much all are in that DC area, Deb Odom is going to bring out the best in Gary Bearpaw, and she encourages him every step of the way. They have a relationship outside of cornhole from the horseshoe world, so I am thrilled that she was able to land Gary Bearpaw this season. Trevor Kufis and Carson Getty, another team I kind of want to talk about there, because in the past it seems like Carson Getty's kind of been the alpha, and I honestly feel like him and Trevor coming in on an even playing field. We've seen glimpses of Trevor's greatness getting paired up with his brother. You always kind of wonder how serious they're going to be when you pair it with your brother. Like the Gores going back together this year, it's kind of like, oh, that's cool, but like I'm not excited about it. So getting a chance to see which Trevor Kufis is real, teaming up with Carson Getty is going to be pretty exciting. Obviously, Bernasette and Lopez getting back together. They had a great run. I mean, I'm beyond ecstatic about Frank Milan and Damon Dennis. I think that this one just makes sense. We had rumblings about Damon kind of walking away from the game, and I was just like, not yet. Like, I want to see it. And then, like, I heard rumblings of Jamie breaking up, and, like, in the back of my head, without trying to be matchmaker, I was like, Frank and Damon just makes sense. Put them together. Let's let the old game changer, slick side guys run amok. Going with all cornhole there. I'm really excited for that. And then the last one I kind of want to talk about before we let Trey get back in here, Jimmy Humans and Ian Cripps. Very curious to see how this one works on the boards, skill-wise, throwing-wise. I absolutely love it. I am very worried, though, that we saw Ian Cripps come into his own. Ian Cripps is now a top-tier player. He's become an alpha. He's got an opinion. He's voicing his thoughts a little bit more. And Jimmy Humans tends to be Mr. Know-It-All. I'm always right. And I don't want to see Ian Cripps get muzzled. I want to see Ian Cripps keep his personality and pair that with Jimmy Humans, and I think they could be a really, really strong sleeper team as long as they work as a team and not necessarily like teacher-student type roles there. But as far as skill goes, I'm very excited for Jimmy Humans and Ian Cripps.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, and hopefully Ian keeps exercising his voice there, and hopefully we see Jimmy surprise you and want him to do that, right? We see him kind of let him take that lead.
Yeah,
Trey.
I left Trey the two haymakers. Go ahead, Trey.
I know. Yeah, you get there's a couple big ones on there.
All right, Cheyenne Bubenheim and Jordan Power.
Did you see the post? Did you see the post where Cheyenne said like it's time to get loud? I mean, can we all just that would be a hot take. I would love to see it.
We did see Cheyenne get a little verbal on the court this last year.
She got a little heated at Worlds. I don't know if she got loud, but like she got. I don't know if this is a good idea. I'm not saying I'm leaning towards it's a bad idea by saying that. I just genuinely don't know. I don't know what it would mean, because everything when I first saw this, my initial reaction, honestly, was that is an awful idea, right? Now, the more I thought about it, though, what have people, I'll say people generally, not my personal opinion, what have people been saying about Cheyenne and her partner and her partners for years and years? It
Cheyenne
felt
needs
like
a better partner.
Needs a better partner. But if you look at the track record of who she has played with, all of them have had a similar personality of low-key, positive, uplifting, blah, blah, blah. Maybe she just needs a kick in the ass in doubles. I mean, is that out of the question that she could just need that? I think this is either going to be fantastic or detrimental. I think this is going to be a team that finishes 150th, or this is a team that finishes top 10. I genuinely believe there could be a hidden chemistry here, or this could be the worst combo ever.
I think it comes down to whether or not she's going to speak up, because I know I've talked to her in the past, and even with Frank, who's like the nicest guy in the world, and she was like, well, if he told me to do something, I would just do it. Like, she wasn't pushing back, like, even if she didn't think it was the right shot. And that's someone who's like low key about it. So I think, now I will say, since she's become a mom, I think she's come more into her voice and become a bit more assertive. And so if she can be assertive and true to herself, kind of what we said about Ian, I think it could go well because it's good energy. I'm with you, Trey.
Because here's the thing, there's going to come a time, because this is what happens when you play with Jordan Power. And I'm not discrediting it, because I love the energy and it works. But it's like playing with Jacob Trzynski. You have to learn how to balance it. What's going to happen when Jordan is fired up in a situation and he starts chirping at the other team and the other team starts chirping at him? This has nothing to do with Cheyenne, but Cheyenne's going to be able to have to throw through that, right? Because now that is going to become a reflection on her. When she shanks a bag after Jordan was just talking junk, you know there's going to be junk talk going back and forth between there, and she has got to be able to handle that. Again, it's a question for me of can she do that? And I genuinely have no idea. So that's the big one for me, a big question mark. I just don't know.
Yeah, I think one thing with that is, like, Jordan firing up Cheyenne, yes, that's a possibility. But, like, Jordan's going to have to fire up himself too. And that's just going to be a lot of energy to go through a long tournament. Now, as far as Frank Modlin, Jeremy Frazier, I do think Jordan Power is a stronger doubles player. So that's going to benefit her there. I don't necessarily think I would take Jordan over them in singles, but I don't know. It just all depends. I think they're all kind of the same tier for me. I still think the ultimate partner that I want to see with Cheyenne is Mark Richards. With contract negotiations, obviously you can't, bow to contract. So maybe we'll see that next year if this Jordan Power and Cheyenne thing doesn't work out. I do want to give a quick shout out to my guy, Jerry Wolford. We got a tournament this weekend here in St. Louis, which is outdoors, and it's supposed to rain. And this is supposed to be our first look at Jordan Power and Cheyenne Bubenheim. They're signed up. They're on the registration list. So I was really looking forward to watching it. Unfortunately, though, if it does rain, we're going to have different conditions. So we're not going to see how they actually, throw together. But we will get to see that chemistry. So hopefully I'll get some live feeds going for that for you guys to take a look at. And then the last one that I know you want to talk about, I'll let you handle, is Ethan Walker and Cody Henderson teaming up for this next season. That one's just freshly released. I've known this one for a while. I've held on to it. I've had a secret. I've had my opinions on it. My initial reaction is just like Michelle's. What? So, Trey, what do you think?
I sat down in Europe with Ethan, and we were just kind of, talking. He's like, you know who I'm playing with? And I was like, no. He's like, guess. And I was like, guess. He's like, it's a really good player that's partnerless. He gave me a couple criteria, and I guessed. It took my third guess, I got to it. And so I think I am higher on this than most people. I genuinely think when Cody is at his best, he is a bag runner. And I think some of the best partnerships are when you pair a bag runner with a very defensive player, because you can have contrast in their games. I think Cody Henderson's going to come out next year throwing all slick side. I genuinely believe it. And he is going to run as many bags in the hole as he can, and he's going to send it down to Ethan Walker and see what he can do. Now, Cody Henderson, this is a huge win, because I think Ethan Walker, what I saw in Europe from Ethan Walker was absolutely putrid disgusting. He was the best player in the world in Europe. Like, nobody was beating him with all the different shots that he was making. Cody Henderson got a big win here, and I think Cody Henderson's job, Here's Cody Henderson's job for next year, Cody. You ready? You're going to hate this. Shut up and throw the bags back to Ethan. That's all you got to do, okay? This is not your team anymore. Be the B player, okay? Be a really good B player and pick your battles when it comes to trying to get into people's heads. You don't have to win by beating people in the head now because you have arguably one of the best players in the world, and it's a different play style. I actually kind of lean towards liking it, guys. I don't know about you guys. I kind of like it.
It has potential. I mean, it definitely has potential. My first thought was just, as far as I know, Ethan Walker, this is what he does, right? Does he have a job?
Yes, this is his.
Does?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And my perception of Cody is that this is not like he's not all in as much as
right. The entire season, we were saying, does Cody care? Does Cody care?
He would say, like, I haven't played in 8 weeks, and then he would show up at a tournament.
I heard he is grinding. I heard he is going to put in the work. I was like, yeah. I've said the same thing. I lied to myself too. But we might actually see Cody carrying, and I'm going to say because Adam won the World Doubles Championship, that might have lit a fire under him. You know what I mean? Because the whole time we kind of thought Cody, and then Adam was Cody's partner, and maybe it was the other way around. Maybe Adam was the alpha and Cody was Adam's partner, and he wants to kind of put his face back on the Rushmore. But I don't know. This is a wait and see one for me.
This is a big old question mark. Yeah. That's what I would say. All right, we also had some last chance pro qualifiers over the weekend. For the West, Young Trin took the win, and the Mid-South, Brandon Gosnell. So congratulations to them. And I believe all we have left is the Mid-East this weekend, and that will round out those events. This season, we have some changes. We have some exciting things coming. Player memberships are live. And Trey, tell us what to look forward to.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, we talked a lot about different Pro Tour opportunities. The Elite now having their opportunity. The Elite division is just going to be getting bigger and bigger and more important and more of a focal point of what we do. So, obviously, those that are interested in becoming an Elite player, that's the Diamond membership that you're looking towards. But also the new membership level of the club level. So, we get a lot of feedback that some people are like, look, I want to support the ACL. I want to be a member. I want to get some benefits. But I am literally never, ever, ever going to go to an open. I'm not traveling outside of my 5-minute, radius of where I am. I play in some local leagues, and that's it. And so we've introduced this club membership, both for directors and players. It's a low monthly rate that you can sign up to get some of those benefits and continue to have an ACL membership. And that leads into this player engagement point system. So the idea is, the number of tournaments that you play in accumulates points, and based on those points, you get to turn those in for rewards at the end of the year. So if you get a certain amount of points, you get a free set of ACL Pro cornhole boards. If you play in enough events, you get a VIP dinner at the World Championships, right? So you get to have dinner with me and Stacy and give you all your feedback from the entire year as we sit over a nice dinner. There's a number of different levels there and number of different opportunities. The idea is we want to reward people for playing and playing in ACL events. And that, I think a lot of the changes that have come, and I've seen on social media, it's been a little bit of a rocking of people's worlds as we look at restructure the opens and what that, looks like, with the top 2 tiers kind of getting cash payouts and going to prizing on the other, tiers, I guess 2 and 3 of the amateur side of things. That's been a big shock to a lot of people, but we really wanted to set the value of these prizes to be better than the cash prizes that someone would receive in previous seasons. But we also believe that, as we go forward, like, we have to continue to support players of all skill levels, just in different ways, right? Players that are there to be amateurs and have a good time and, be a part of the ACL in that regard. We want to reward them with great rewards, as well as, opportunities, as well as just overall giving them great tournament experiences. If you are going the pro player route, that takes a different type of investment from you, and it takes a different type of focus. And we want to really focus on getting those people to become full-time professional athletes across the board from top to bottom. So there's different initiatives, and we're really trying to separate what those out. I think in previous times we've said a lot of things about everybody is kind of treated individually, but really we've kind of lumped everybody into the same bucket. And this is the first time we're really trying to separate those two paths, right? If you want to be someone that wants to pursue this as a full-time professional career, you can do that. If this is a person that you just want to play some ACL events and, hey, get some nice perks along the way, then there's a way to do that as well. So
I think
really trying to separate those is important.
I think because I've been watching what's happening online, and the people who are complaining about the prizing in level 2, 3, that to me that they're not I think they need to go play in tier 1 elite or whatever, like, because their goals should be different than someone playing in tier 3. And what's shocking to me is I'm like, look, if you're tier 2, tier 3, I know back when my first ever tournament, you're terrified. Like, you're just going to, like, I need to get experience at big events. I haven't left my area. I'm going to this massive open. There's a live stream court. There's pros everywhere. Like, I feel like you are paying for the experience, because you're never going to be able to play better until you start getting comfortable in those uncomfortable environments. And hey, if you win and you get some boards or you get some cool stuff, great. But I can't imagine that the mindset going in at that level is like, oh, I'm here to make my freaking money. Yeah, I'm gonna make money playing cornhole level 2. Let's go. Like, I don't understand the people that are saying that. It's like mind blowing to me. Like, what are you talking about?
I think part of it is, and I understand this, and this is good to have these type of transparent discussions, is that the precedent had already been set in the other direction. So if cornhole from the beginning, from the inception of time, always followed a certain way, then this wouldn't be a big deal. But it's because it is different than what has happened before, and change is always bad. It's not always bad, but it's always bad that people oftentimes, and we'll get over that, right? Just like, you know, as we do this structure and move forward and put and make different things a priority, it's, you know, it just makes things different. Like, for example, in Europe, it is I go back to Europe Open, another reason I can talk about it. It is standard to do rounders followed by single elimination. That is their standard, right? And so for many people, they're like, if you're used to what we do in the States and then you do that, you're like, whoa, this is different, and I'm not sure I like this, right? But that's just how they do things over there, which is different. So if we all of a sudden changed all of our tournaments, which we've done, you know, and we get a lot of, you know, blowback, but that's why you see that blowback, because it is a change that is different. I'll kind of end maybe my thoughts with just one singular thing. The ACL, I've said time and time again, will always want to innovate and take the next step forward. They always want to make this a legitimate sport across all levels and professionalize everything. Every decision that we make is geared towards accomplishing those goals, every single one of them. Now, some people may not see the short term or the long term, either direction, reasons for making this, but there is no less than 15 to 20 people across the company that are involved in all of these different decisions. Having said that, I really feel confident, and the team really feels confident in this new structure that we have adopted, that we can limit the amount of overwhelming change that happens in future seasons. We really feel like this was a season to go ahead and rip off the Band-Aid, change the Tour Pro Tour, add a women's tour, add a juniors tour, add a seniors tour, create the grassroots level, create the club membership, do all of these changes and just go ahead and get on with it, because we saw the long-term vision of where the league needed to go. We identified these areas, and now that we've made that change, we are confident that, you know, maybe there's some small tweaks, but this is the model that is going to lead to long-term growth worldwide.
Yeah, real quick, I did research, and a lot of the names that we're seeing online didn't finish in the top money or anything. So the pieces that you're seeing online aren't really relevant as far as to getting these prizes anyway.
Oh, put on blast.
I actually went and researched to see if your name showed up in any of the 16 open final 5 or whatever. Nah, not happening. And then the other thing is, you know, the pros and the elite players are stuck in their own division now. So that's the other thing too, is like you're not getting those bad finishes. You know, I believe it was Hunter Thorne and Noah Wooten one time were like in tier 2 or something like that. Like, you're not getting that anymore. So your chances to win are actually better this way now. So here, and you know, last thing is either try it. And if you don't like it, at least now you have an honest answer with research behind it. And the other thing is push yourself. Just try to push yourself to improve, to play in that upper tier anyway. I don't know if we've announced. Is there a deadline for the elite thing? Is it still December, Trey?
It's actually March this year, but
March.
yeah,
So
there is a deadline.
There you go.
Yeah.
So use the opens and everything that we have set up for you guys to improve yourself, to make that decision if you want to make that push for elite in March.
Let me make one more soapbox statement, okay? And this is as soapboxy ACL homer that anybody's ever going to hear, okay? I try to be as unbiased. This is totally biased, but this is what I'm saying. If you want the ultimate cornhole experience when you go to an ACL event, if you want to see your friends that are pro players make a full-time living, playing cornhole, if you want to see cornhole in the Olympics, if you want to see cornhole take the next step worldwide and become a phenomenon, buy a membership, play in ACL events, buy ACL licensed gear, okay? And watch ACL when it's on TV, watch it when it's on your Facebook feed, when it's on your YouTube feed, all of that. I get it. That's salesy, and people can roll their eyes all they want. But here's the difference. The ACL is investing all of this money that comes into it into growing all these different things. The amount of infrastructure, the amount of effort, the amount of staffing it takes to put on this league, we are doing it in order to accomplish all of those goals. And the way that you can support that is by doing all those things. So if you don't care about making any money, if you don't care about the pros making it, if you don't care about cornhole becoming an Olympic sport, all these different things that the ACL is leading these initiatives, if you don't care about that, then that's fine. You don't have to participate in any ACL events. I get it, and there's no harm, no foul. But you can't be the person that complains about what the ACL is doing and how it's spending its money if you're not going to be the one out there buying a membership, buying the bags, and leading the charge in your area in order to get more people playing ACL events. There's my end of my soapbox. You guys can roll your eyes.
Mic drop. We got to work together. We got to work together.
We got to work together.
We're climbing a large mountain. So the more people we can get, the better it's going to be. But I think we can do it. And I'm excited about, I am knee deep in my dissertation that revolves around cornhole. And I feel like, hopefully that can push it forward. Like whatever we can all do to get that, to get it to the next level, we're all into it for that. All right, let's switch over to our 4-bagger and floor bagger. Wally, I'll start with you. 4-bagger of the week.
All right, 4-bagger of the week. What do I got here? Oh, the schedule, the time of year. I absolutely love this time of year. The ACL season's getting ready to start. We got baseball playoffs starting. Football's happening right now. Hockey's coming back. Fall sports. We got the holidays rolling around. My birthday's coming up. 4-bagger for me. The best. This time of year. Love it.
Wally, do we have very close birthdays? How do I not know this? When is
October
yours?
26th, mine.
Oh, I'm September 28th. So I'm in like
a month
4
apart.
days.
Yeah. I love it. I'm here for fall. Tell the weather here that it's fall because it doesn't know. But yeah. Trey?
All right. 4-bagger is my birthday is this Saturday, and I'm going to sit at a football tailgate for 12 hours doing nothing but shoving my face with food, watching college football, and having a few cocktails. And all I got to say is after the past 2 months,
it sounds great.
I deserve it, and I can't wait for it.
That's a great way to spend a birthday. I'm here for it. All right, floor bagger, Wally.
Floor bagger for me is the weekend I just had. I filled in for Jake Brandon, so this is all Jake Brandon's fault. I went out to the Oklahoma State tailgating tour.
Yeah, Schmanin. It's all his fault.
I filled in for him as he went out to play in Paradise Grill. So I went to the tailgating tour. Like we were set up in kind of a weird area, like next to like kiddie bounce houses. So we didn't really get like the full tailgating thing. It was kind of a weird setup for us. It was super windy. We get koozies, stickers blowing everywhere. It was super hot. There was no dollies. So Trey, I'm going to have to complain. You guys got to get a dolly for Sean and Jake. Like we had to carry the stuff across the turf. It was rough. And then to top things off, my air conditioner went out on the drive out there. And then my transition messed up while we're there. So yeah, $7,000-8,000 later, man, I'm back home. I did get to watch an entire day of football. I didn't have any urge to put socks or shoes on. I set up multiple TVs in my living room. So I enjoyed the Sunday. I needed it, but yeah, it was a rough weekend for me.
That is the floor bagger of all floor baggers. Trey, what do you got?
My fantasy team sucks. I hate it.
Yeah,
We're
I
at
may
the
have beat that team.
You didn't honestly, like, you didn't even earn it, Michelle. My team sucks. Like, you can't even feel good about beating me. That's how bad my team
I got over
is.
100. I feel like if you get over 100, that's not that bad.
I'm scoring 84 points a week or whatever. I'm just bad. I mean,
That is
Bijan Robinson is bad. I got, Ramondre Stevenson getting 0.3 points. Just bad.
bad. All right, send it or board it, Wally.
Yeah, that play calling, by the way, was atrocious. It's kind of funny you talk about fantasy football because there is one matchup in our $300 buy-in league, and like going into the Monday night game or Sunday night game, the score is like 43-38. Like somebody who doesn't deserve a win is getting a win that week. It was crazy. All right, Senator boarded for me. So we're kind of talking about the college stuff. Trey's getting ready to watch college football this weekend. I went to University of Phoenix and Lewis and Clark Community College. So like I didn't get this. Kiddos in their senior year, Senator boarded, going to a D1 or D2 school.
Yes, I'm like you. I didn't have it.
Send it.
Yeah,
it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. If you can believe this, I was an introvert when I went to college. I know that's hard for everybody to understand, but like my Division I college experience just completely opened the doors to so many different things, and just it made me the person that I am. I mean, I did go to the greatest university in the world, but
yeah,
I mean, it's
no bias.
No bias there.
Yeah, I got a taste of the Nebraska volleyball when I went out there and hung out for a few days with Katie Bartell and Ryan Wiedenfeld family. And like the volleyball, like the whole building was built just for volleyball. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then later on that night, I ended up getting tickets. Mason Wiedenfeld didn't want to go, so he gave me his ticket to the Colorado versus Nebraska game. And it sounded every little bit of 90,000 people in that stadium. And I was just like, all right, I got goosebumps. I was like, this is awesome. So, yeah, I'm trying to encourage her to not go the community
You're
college.
welcome to any Clemson game you want to go to. I got the tailgate, I got the satellite, the trailer. We'll do the full day. You guys let me know.
Yeah,
I always
never
welcome
done
people.
No college football experience. No, I've actually never been to a football game at all aside from high school. So I could really use that. All right, what you got?
Well, just book a flight.
Yeah, no worries.
Senator Board, being in 15 fantasy football leagues.
Bored. I won't do more than 2. No way.
Spending it all day long.
What are you just cheering for every player on the team? Like every possible player there is?
No. Okay. So Sunday during the day, you just want to see good football, right? You just want to watch football. You're enjoying it. Sunday night, you can start looking at your scores a little bit, root for or against certain players. And then Monday comes around and you're like, oh, I need this guy to get me this amount of points and this guy to not get me points.
This is why you're stressed out, Wally.
It's my release, to be honest with you. It's the only time I'm having fun. And we actually did a wheel spin. So we picked 5 more teams every single week. So technically, if you want to get them in 19 fantasy leagues, but I had a chance to go 14-0 this week. It was awesome.
Oh my goodness. All right. We're gonna wrap it up right there. Go into hot takes. What do you got, Trey?
Hot take. One of my favorite Croatians, either Maria or Kata Belac, will finish top 10 in women's singles at the 2025 ACL World Championships.
I like it. All right, what you got, Wally?
All right, so I don't know what state I'm going to live in yet. I'm, of course, always trying to move around the globe, but Wally Castler will finish in the top 5 in whatever state he lives in next year.
What? That's the honest hot take I've ever heard.
Coming back,
top 5 in ping pong or what? Fantasy football?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I'll piggyback off that because we were talking about this guy in particular not being committed. Ethan Walker, Cody Henderson. I'll say the top 20 team. I think Cody comes out and actually does. I was gonna say top 10.
Lukewarm.
Yeah, like there's 19 numbers 10? There that make this a correct prediction.
Top 10, fine. Ethan Walker, Cody Henderson, top 10 team. Get it done, Cody. Show up or show out. Or as Trey would say, prove it.
Yeah, prove it.
All right, guys. That's all we got time for. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.